The mysterious encounter. The mining station floated quietly in the vast blackness of space. Alex, a human engineer, worked alone, repairing a broken drone in the station's workshop. He liked the quiet life out here. No noise, no trouble, just the hum of machinery and the occasional crackle of the station's communication system. Suddenly, his console beeped. A red light flashed on the screen, signaling an incoming object. Alex frowned and walked over to investigate. Unidentified object detected, the system announced in its monotone voice. Alex squinted at the screen. The object was small, moving fast, and heading straight for the asteroid field near his station. He watched as it tumbled and spun before crashing into a nearby rocky surface. A faint trail of smoke rose from the crash site. Curiosity got the better of him. Grabbing his toolkit and strapping on his spacesuit, Alex made his way to the docking bay. His small rover was ready to go, and within minutes, he was speeding across the asteroid's surface toward the crash site. When he arrived, Alex saw an escape pod half buried in the rocky terrain. The metal was scorched, and one side of the pod was crumpled like a tin can. Carefully, he climbed down from his rover and approached. A faint hissing sound came from the pod, and the door hissed open just as he got close. Inside was a figure unlike anything Alex had ever seen. An alien woman, her skin shimmering like liquid metal, sat slumped in the seat. Strange, sticky residue clung to her body, glowing faintly in the dim light. Her eyes fluttered open, and she looked at him with a mixture of fear and desperation. "Human," she croaked, her voice weak and raspy. "Clean me, please." Alex froze. He had seen strange things during his time in space, but this was something else entirely. The alien woman reached out a trembling hand, her fingers coated in the strange residue. It crackled faintly, like static electricity. He hesitated. Who are you? What happened?" he asked, his voice unsteady. She struggled to sit up, wincing in pain. "No time. They are coming," she whispered, her eyes darting toward the sky. "Clean me, or they will find us." Alex looked around nervously. The asteroid field was quiet for now, but her words sent a chill down his spine. He didn't know who they were, but he had a feeling he didn't want to find out. "Okay," he said, stepping forward cautiously. "I'll help you. Let's get you back to the station." The alien nodded weakly, and Alex carefully helped her out of the pod. Her skin felt cool and smooth, like polished metal. The residue stuck to his gloves, tingling slightly as he touched it. Together, they stumbled back to the rover. Alex strapped her into the passenger seat and drove back to the station as quickly as he could. Once inside the station, Alex guided her to the workshop. He activated a decontamination unit, a large chamber designed to clean machinery and remove hazardous materials. "Get in there," he said. "This should help." The alien hesitated but finally stepped inside. Alex activated the system, and beams of light scanned her body, dissolving the strange residue. As the residue disappeared, the chamber's sensors flashed with warning signs. "Unknown substance detected," the system announced. "Highly unstable." Alex's heart raced. "What is that stuff?" he asked, staring at the alien through the glass. She stepped out of the chamber, her skin now glowing faintly but free of the residue. "It's a tracker," she said, her voice stronger now. "They use it to find me." "Who's they?" Alex demanded. "And why are they after you?" The alien looked at him with a serious expression. "The Kraviks," she said. "They hunt my kind. And now, they will come for you too." Alex felt a lump form in his throat. He didn't sign up for this. He was just an engineer trying to live a quiet life on a remote station. But now, he had an alien woman warning him about hunters coming to his doorstep. "What do we do?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The alien's eyes narrowed. "We prepare," she said. And as she spoke, the station's sensors beeped again. This time, The screen showed a large ship entering the asteroid field, heading straight for them. Cleaning up the mystery. The air inside the station buzzed with tension. Zara, the alien woman, sat on the metallic exam table in Alex's workshop, her glowing patterns dimming as she struggled to stay conscious. Alex paced nervously, his hand smeared with the strange residue he had cleaned from her. "I've never seen anything like this," Alex muttered, examining the glowing substance left on his gloves. It pulsed faintly, like it was alive. "What is this stuff?" "It's not of your world," Zara said weakly, her voice carrying a strange melody, as if two tones spoke at once. "It's a signal. It tells them where I am." Alex's stomach turned. "A signal? You mean they can track you with this?" Zara nodded, her head drooping. "They already know. The Kravix are relentless." Alex grabbed a scanner and waved it over the residue still clinging to her skin. The scanner whirred, but the results made no sense. The substance wasn't just organic or synthetic. It was both, something completely alien. Before he could process what he was seeing, Zara sat up straighter, her glowing patterns flickering erratically. "You don't understand," she said, her tone urgent now. "If it isn't removed entirely, it will infect your systems, your station, and you." Alex froze. "Infect me? What are you talking about?" She reached out and grabbed his hand. Her touch sent a jolt through his body, like static electricity magnified 1,000 times. "This substance," Zara said, her glowing eyes locking onto his, "is alive. It evolves. If it bonds with your machines, or worse, your biology, it will spread." Alex yanked his hand back, his mind racing. "Great. Now I'm dealing with an alien plague." He looked at Zara, who was clearly in pain, her body trembling. Despite his fear, he couldn't leave her like this. "All right, stay put. I'm going to run a deeper clean." Zara hesitated, her voice softening. "You risk everything by helping me." Alex shrugged. "Yeah, well, I've already touched the stuff. Might as well go all in." He powered up the decontamination chamber again, but this time, he altered the settings, combining ultraviolet rays with a plasma scrub. As the chamber's beams washed over Zara, the residue began to writhe and spark violently. She clenched her fists, her glowing patterns flaring bright enough to hurt Alex's eyes. "Hold on," Alex shouted, watching the chamber's readings spike. The substance fought back, resisting the cleaning process. Suddenly, the station lights flickered, and the entire room shook. "What the?" Alex stumbled as the vibration grew stronger. He checked the monitors and froze. The residue wasn't just reacting. It was trying to merge with the station's power grid. Zara screamed, her voice resonating like a shockwave. The residue clinging to her skin flared one last time before dissolving into a cloud of faint, glittering particles. She collapsed to the floor as the chamber powered down. Alex rushed to her side. "Zara, are you okay?" Her breathing was shallow, but she managed a faint smile. "You did it. The signal is gone." Relief washed over Alex, but it was short-lived. The station's main console beeped, and an alert flashed on the screen. "Unauthorized signal DTZTED. Incoming transmission." Alex ran to the console and hesitated before hitting the button. A deep, guttural voice crackled through the speakers. "Human, you have interfered with Kravik's property. Surrender the fugitive, or we will take her and your station by force." Alex's hands clenched into fists. He glanced back at Zara, who was too weak to move, and then back at the monitor. He didn't know who these Kraviks were, but one thing was clear: they weren't here to negotiate. His heart pounded as he grabbed a wrench and muttered under his breath, "Well, I didn't sign up for this, but I'll be damned if I let them take my station without a fight." The chase begins. The station shuddered violently, jolting Alex from his seat. Red warning lights flashed across the control room, and the main console displayed a chilling message: "Proximity breach." Hostile vessel detected. Alex gritted his teeth. The Krevix ship was close, too close. On the screen, its shadowy silhouette loomed against the asteroid field, sharp and angular, like a predator stalking its prey. "Zara," Alex called, running toward the workshop where she rested. He found her slumped against the wall, her glowing patterns dim but still pulsing faintly. "They're here," Alex said, his voice tight. "We need to move." Zara lifted her head, her glowing eyes heavy with exhaustion. "You can't run," she said, her voice distant. "The Krevix will hunt until there's nothing left." Alex knelt beside her, gripping her shoulders. "Then we fight. You've seen my tools. I've rigged this station to survive asteroid storms and pirate raids. I'm not going down without a fight." A faint smile crossed Zora's face, but it quickly faded. "Your machines won't stop them. They're adaptive. Then we outsmart them." Alex replied, already forming a plan in his head. "Can you still use whatever it is you did earlier?" Zara hesitated, her patterns flickering. "I can manipulate energy, but it weakens me. If I use too much, I won't survive." Alex stood, his mind racing. "Then we don't waste it. I've got an idea." The decoy plan. In the control room, Alex activated the station's holographic defense grid. On the monitor, he saw the Krevix ship positioning itself near the asteroid, its claws-like docking arms extended. "All right, let's give them something to chase," Alex muttered. He programmed a decoy drone, feeding it a false energy signature that mimicked Zora's unique aura. The drone, no larger than a football, zipped out of the station and into the asteroid field. On the console, Alex watched as the Krevix ship hesitated, its scanners clearly detecting the decoy. "Come on, take the bait," Alex whispered, his fingers hovering over the controls. The Krevix ship fired a bright, web-like beam toward the drone, trying to capture it. The drone zipped away, leading the beam toward a dense cluster of asteroids. "It's working," Alex said, glancing at Zora. "They think she's on the drone." Zora didn't respond. Her head rested against the console, her breathing shallow. The effort of suppressing her energy signature had drained her, but she managed a faint nod. The Krevix strike back. Just as Alex started to feel relief, the station's alarms blared again. "Unauthorized entry detected. Multiple life forms aboard." "What?" Alex spun toward the airlock monitor. His blood ran cold as he saw figures materializing inside the station. The Krevix hadn't fully boarded. They teleported. The creatures were tall and spindly, their bodies encased in dark, shifting armor that seemed to ripple like liquid metal. Their glowing red eyes scanned the corridors as they moved silently, their sharp, clawed hands slicing through any obstacle in their path. Alex grabbed a plasma cutter from the workshop. His station wasn't equipped for combat, but he wasn't about to roll over and let them take Zora or his station. "You stay here," he told her, locking the workshop door. "If they get through, use your powers. Otherwise, conserve your energy." Zora looked at him, her glowing eyes filled with guilt. "You don't have to do this." Alex smirked. "Yeah, I do. It's my station, my rules." The first clash. Alex stalked through the dimly lit corridors, his plasma cutter buzzing faintly. The Krevix were methodical, moving in pairs, their glowing armor casting eerie shadows on the walls. Alex waited until one pair passed him, then jumped out, swinging the plasma cutter at full power. The first Krevix let out a guttural screech as the cutter sliced through its armor. The second spun around, its claw-like arm lashing out. Alex barely ducked in time, the claws scraping against the metal wall. "Not so tough now, are you?" Alex muttered, jamming the cutter into the second Krevix's chest. Sparks flew as it collapsed in a heap. But the victory was short-lived. From the end of the corridor, more Krevix appeared, their eyes glowing brighter as if in fury. Alex cursed under his breath, and bolted back toward the control room. A hidden power. The station's walls groaned under the pressure of the Krevix invasion. In the control room, Alex frantically scanned the monitors, watching as the adaptive hunters moved through the corridors. Their liquid-like armor flowed seamlessly, absorbing impacts and adapting to every obstacle. He had never seen anything like it. But his mind wasn't on the Krevix. It was on Zara, who sat slumped in the workshop, her glowing patterns fading by the second. Whatever power she had, Alex knew it was their only chance to survive. The awakening. Zara. Alex burst into the workshop, his voice sharp. "I need you to wake up." Zara's head lolled to the side, her eyes half closed. "I have nothing left," she whispered. "They're too strong." Alex knelt beside her, gripping her shoulders. "Then make me strong," he said, desperation seeping into his voice. "You said you can manipulate energy. Use me. Use my tools, my station, whatever it takes." Zora's glowing eyes flickered, her expression torn between fear and determination. "If I bond my power to yours, it could kill you," she said softly. "Your body isn't designed to handle it." Alex tightened his grip. "Better me than both of us. Better us than the entire galaxy if these things win. Do it, Zora." She hesitated, then placed her hands on his chest. Her touch was cold at first, then searing hot. Her glowing patterns flared to life, spreading across her arms and onto Alex's body. He screamed as a surge of energy coursed through him, lighting up his veins like molten fire. When it was over, Alex collapsed to his knees, panting. His hands trembled as he looked down. The glowing patterns had transferred onto his arms, shimmering faintly. He could feel the power humming beneath his skin. What did you do to me?" he asked, his voice shaky. "I shared my energy," Zara said weakly. "You're connected to me now. Use it wisely." A new weapon. The station shuddered again, and the workshop door buckled under the weight of a Krevix claw. Alex grabbed a plasma cutter from the workbench, but the moment his hand touched it, the tool transformed. The energy from Zara surged into the device, reshaping it into something new, sleek, glowing, and far more powerful. "Whoa," Alex muttered, hefting the weapon. It hummed with energy, and he could feel its potential in his hands. The door burst open, and two Krevix hunters stormed in. Their red eyes locked onto Zara, but Alex stepped in their path, raising the transformed plasma cutter. "Not today," he growled. The first Krevix lunged, its claws swiping toward Alex's throat. But Alex moved faster than he ever thought possible. The plasma cutter roared to life, slicing clean through the Krevix's adaptive armor. Sparks flew as the creature collapsed, its body writhing before going still. The second Krevix hesitated, its glowing eyes scanning Alex as if reassessing the threat. It lunged, but this time, Alex extended his free hand instinctively. A bolt of energy shot from his palm, slamming into the Krevix and sending it flying into the wall. Alex stared at his hand, his heart pounding. "What the hell did you do to me, Zara?" She managed a faint smile. "You're stronger now, but strength alone won't save us." The bigger threat. As Alex dragged Zara out of the workshop, alarms blared across the station. The Krevix ship outside was no longer just watching, it was firing. Bright, wet-like energy beams struck the asteroid, shaking the station to its core. In the control room, Alex dropped Zara into a chair and pulled up the scanners. The Krevix ship was charging something massive, a weapon that could obliterate the entire station. "They're trying to wipe us out," Alex muttered. He glanced at Zara, who was barely conscious. "Any more tricks up your sleeve?" She shook her head weakly. "The rest is up to you." Alex's glowing hands tightened into fists. He felt the power Zara had given him, surging like a second heartbeat. He wasn't just an engineer anymore. He was something more. Turning back to the console, he grinned. "Let's see how they like it when I fight back." A clever trap. The station was chaos. Sparks flew from ruptured power lines, and the low hum of life support systems faltered as the Krevix ship outside prepared its final assault. Alex tightened his grip on the glowing plasma weapon Zora's energy had transformed, his heart pounding as he worked on his desperate plan. "This is suicide," Alex muttered under his breath, bolting down the corridor toward the reactor room. Behind him, the Krevix hunters were relentless, their clawed feet clanging on the metal floors as they pursued him. From the comm panel on his wrist, Zora's weak voice broke through. "Alex, what are you doing?" "Buying us time," Alex replied, skidding to a halt outside the reactor room. "They'd want power. I'll give it to them. More than they can handle." He slammed the door shut behind him, sealing it with a manual override. The Krevix hunters outside clawed at the reinforced metal, their shrieks echoing through the station. The bait. Inside the reactor room, Alex moved quickly. He rerouted the station's power grid, channeling every ounce of energy into a single concentrated surge. Sweat dripped down his face as he worked, his glowing hands making the controls hum with an eerie resonance. "This isn't just a mining station," Alex muttered, connecting wires with practiced precision. "It's a giant bomb." From the comm, Zora gasped, "You'll destroy yourself." The explosion could destabilize the entire asteroid field. "That's the idea," Alex said, his voice grim. "But we're not going down with it." He activated a small drone, the same one he'd used earlier to distract the Krevix. This time, he programmed it to carry a piece of the reactor's core, a decoy that radiated Zora's unique energy signature. "Go," Alex commanded, releasing the drone into the station's ventilation shafts. The drone zipped away, its faint hum blending with the station's background noise. On the monitors, Alex watched as the Krevix hunters paused their search. Their red eyes glowed brighter, tracking the drone's signal. One by one, they abandoned their positions and moved toward the reactor room, drawn by the decoy. "The trap is set." Alex finished the final connection, his hands trembling from exhaustion. The reactor's core pulsed ominously, its energy levels climbing far beyond safe limits. Zora's voice crackled through the comm again. "The Krevix ship is targeting the station. Alex, if they fire while you're in there." "They won't get the chance," Alex interrupted. He grabbed his modified plasma cutter and a handheld energy shield, the glowing patterns on his arms flaring brighter. Time to give them a taste of their own medicine. He opened the reactor room's door just as the first Krevix hunter lunged inside. With a surge of energy, Alex swung the plasma cutter, slicing clean through the creature's adaptive armor. The hunter crumpled, its liquid-like body dissolving into a pool of molten metal. More hunters poured in, their claws flashing in the dim light. Alex fought with a ferocity he didn't know he had, his enhanced reflexes and glowing weapons giving him the edge. Energy bolts erupted from his hands, slamming into the hunters and sending them flying. But the Krevix were learning. Their armor adapted, hardening against his attacks. One hunter managed to grab Alex, its claws digging into his shoulder. He gritted his teeth and unleashed a burst of energy directly into its chest, shattering it into pieces. The Krevix's mistake. The drone carrying the decoy core zipped out of the station, its signal growing stronger as it moved toward the Krevix ship. On the monitors, Alex saw the ship's weapons pivot, locking onto the drone. "They're taking the bait," Alex muttered, a grin spreading across his face. The Krevix ship fired, a massive energy beam streaking toward the drone. But Alex's modifications worked perfectly. The drone emitted a feedback pulse just before impact, redirecting the beam back toward the ship. The Krevix vessel shuddered, its hull glowing red-hot from the redirected energy. Inside the station, the remaining hunters froze, their glowing eyes flickering as if in confusion. Alex activated the reactor's overload sequence. "Time to go," he shouted into the comm. "Escape and detonation." Alex sprinted toward the docking bay, his enhanced speed allowing him to outpace The Krevix hunters still in pursuit. He reached the escape shuttle, where Zara waited, strapped into the co-pilot's seat. "You look terrible," Zara said, managing a faint smile despite her exhaustion. "Let's see how terrible they look in a minute," Alex replied, jumping into the pilot's seat. The shuttle roared to life, blasting out of the station just as the reactor reached critical levels. From the viewport, Alex and Zara watched as the station erupted in a blinding explosion. The shockwave ripped through the asteroid field, sending debris hurtling into the Kravik ship. The hunters aboard the station were vaporized instantly, and the Kravik's vessel itself faltered, its adaptive systems overwhelmed by the sheer force of the blast. As it began to break apart, Alex let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. The Great Escape. The shuttle's engines roared to life as Alex piloted it through the dense asteroid field, weaving between jagged rocks that loomed like ancient predators. Behind them, the Kravik ship faltered, its once imposing frame now splintered by the explosion of Alex's station. But the hunters weren't finished yet. "They're following us," Zara said weakly, her glowing patterns dim but steady as she monitored the rear sensors. Her voice carried an edge of panic. "They're drones, faster than us." Alex tightened his grip on the controls. "Let them come. I've got a few more tricks up my sleeve." The shuttle jolted as a Kravik's drone fired an energy bolt, grazing the hull. Sparks flew, and the lights flickered. Zara winced, her hand clutching the console to steady herself. "We're not going to make it if they keep this up," she said, her voice trembling. Alex's jaw clenched. "Oh, we'll make it. Hold on." Into the maelstrom. Ahead, a massive asteroid loomed, its surface glowing faintly with a strange blue light. Alex's eyes narrowed as he spotted geysers of plasma erupting from the rock. It was a natural minefield, deadly, but also an opportunity. "What are you doing?" Zara asked, her glowing eyes wide as Alex steered toward the asteroid. "Making things interesting," Alex replied, smirking despite the danger. The shuttle dove into the chaos. Plasma geysers erupted around them, bathing the shuttle in blinding light. Alex's hands moved instinctively, his enhanced reflexes guiding the ship through the storm. Behind them, the Kravik's drones hesitated, their systems struggling to adapt to the unpredictable environment. "Come on, you adaptive bastards," Alex muttered, glancing at the rear monitors. "Let's see how smart you really are." One by one, the drones entered the field. At first, they maneuvered with precision, dodging the plasma bursts. But the geysers intensified, and the drones couldn't keep up. One was struck by a massive burst, exploding in a shower of molten metal. Another collided with a spinning fragment of rock, shattering on impact. Zara's lips curved into a faint smile. "You're insane." Alex grinned. "And you're just figuring that out now." A price for survival. As the last drone fell, the shuttle emerged from the asteroid's shadow, the glow of distant stars filling the cockpit. Alex let out a breath of relief, his hand shaking as he eased the controls. But Zara's expression remained tense. "It's not over," she said, her voice somber. Alex frowned. "The drones are gone. The ship's disabled. What else could go wrong?" Before Zara could answer, the shuttle systems flickered. Alex glanced at the controls, his stomach sinking. A faint, pulsating light spread across the console, crawling like veins of liquid metal. "The residue," Zara said, her voice filled with dread. "It's infected the ship." Alex slammed his fist against the console. "You've got to be kidding me." The ship groaned as the residue spread, its glow intensifying. Zara pushed herself to her feet, her glowing patterns flaring slightly. "I can stop it, but I'll need your help." "Tell me what to do," Alex said, already moving to her side. Zara placed her hands on the console, her energy surging into the ship's systems. The residue resisted, crackling and sparking as it fought back. "I need you to stabilize the energy flow," she said through gritted teeth. "Use the connection we share." Alex hesitated for only a second before placing his glowing hands over hers. A jolt of energy coursed through him, and he gasped as their connection deepened. He could feel the ship as if it were an extension of his body. The engines, the hull, the infected systems fighting for control. "Focus," Zara said, her voice steady despite the strain. "Push the infection out." Together, they channeled their energy, driving the residue back. It writhed and pulsed, resisting with every ounce of its strength. The ship shook violently, alarms blaring as the battle raged. But slowly the residue began to retreat, its glow fading. With a final burst of light, it disintegrated, leaving the console clear. Zara collapsed into the co-pilot's seat, her breathing ragged. "You okay?" Alex asked, leaning heavily against the console. Zara nodded weakly. "You're getting better at this." Alex smirked, though exhaustion tugged at his every muscle. "Yeah, well, I've had a good teacher." A glimpse of hope. The shuttle drifted in silence for a moment, the stars outside seeming brighter after the chaos. Alex ran a diagnostic on the systems, relieved to find no remaining traces of the residue. "So, what now?" he asked, turning to Zara. Zara's eyes glowed faintly as she looked out at the stars. "We keep moving. The Kravix won't stop, but neither will we." Alex nodded, determination hardening his features. "Then let's make sure the next time they come, we're ready." Zara's faint smile returned. "You've already changed more than you know, Alex. Humanity might just stand a chance." "Focus," Zara said, her voice steady despite the strain. "Push the infection out." Together, they channeled their energy, driving the residue back. It writhed and pulsed, resisting with every ounce of its strength. The ship shook violently, alarms blaring as the battle raged. But slowly the residue began to retreat, its glow fading. With a final burst of light, it disintegrated, leaving the console clear. Zara collapsed into the co-pilot's seat, her breathing ragged. "You okay?" Alex asked, leaning heavily against the console. Zara nodded weakly. "You're getting better at this." Alex smirked, though exhaustion tugged at his every muscle. "Yeah, well, I've had a good teacher." A glimpse of hope. The shuttle drifted in silence for a moment, the stars outside seeming brighter after the chaos. Alex ran a diagnostic on the systems, relieved to find no remaining traces of the residue. "So, what now?" he asked, turning to Zara. Zara's eyes glowed faintly as she looked out at the stars. "We keep moving. The Kravix won't stop, but neither will we." Alex nodded, determination hardening his features. "Then let's make sure the next time they come, we're ready." Zara's faint smile returned. "You've already changed more than you know, Alex. Humanity might just stand a chance." Humanity fights back. The shuttle hung in the void, battered but functional. Alex adjusted the controls as Zara worked beside him, her glowing patterns flickering faintly. Both of them were exhausted, but there was no time to rest. The Kravix threat wasn't over, it was only delayed. "We've got one shot at this," Alex said, his voice grim. "If we can get to the human fleet and warn them about the Kravix, they might stand a chance." Zara nodded, her expression serious. "But they'll need more than a warning. The Kravix adapt too quickly. Conventional weapons won't work." Alex glanced at her, an idea forming in his mind. "What if we weaponize your energy, combine it with human tech?" Zara hesitated. "It's dangerous. If it overloads, it could destroy more than just the Kravix." Alex smirked. "Dangerous is kind of our thing now." The plan. Alex set a course for the nearest human outpost, a military fleet stationed near a small nebula. The journey was tense, the shuttle systems barely holding together after the recent battles. But they made it, the fleet's massive ships coming into view like guardians of the galaxy. "Broadcasting now," Alex said, opening a communication channel. "This is Alex Kane, engineer of Mining Station X-17. I'm carrying urgent intel about a hostile alien force. Prepare for docking. The fleet responded cautiously, their weapons locked on the approaching shuttle. But when Alex explained the situation and showed Zora's unique abilities, they were granted access. Within minutes, they were aboard the command ship, surrounded by skeptical officers. Aliens adapt to everything we throw at them, one officer said, eyeing Zora warily. What makes you think we can stop them this time? Zora stepped forward, her glowing patterns illuminating the dim room. Because you'll be fighting them with something they can't adapt to. My energy, combined with your technology. It's unpredictable and unstable. They won't be able to counter it. The officers exchanged glances, then turned to Alex. You're the engineer. Can you make this work? Alex grinned. Oh, I can make it work. Just give me the tools. The final battle. As Alex and Zora worked with the fleet's engineers, the Kravix made their move. Their massive mothership emerged from the nebula, its dark form blotting out the stars. Smaller ships swarmed ahead, their red lights glowing like ominous beacons. They're here, Zora said, her voice tense, and they're bringing everything they've got. The fleet scrambled into action, launching fighters and activating defensive shields. Meanwhile, Alex and Zora finished their creation. A massive energy cannon powered by Zora's unique abilities. It pulsed with an otherworldly light, humming with dangerous potential. This thing could blow us all to hell, one engineer muttered. Alex slapped the side of the cannon. Then let's aim it at the right target. The showdown. The Kravix ships descended on the fleet like a storm, their adaptive armor deflecting most of the human weapons. But when the energy cannon fired, the battlefield changed. The beam of unstable energy ripped through the Kravix ships, bypassing their defenses and reducing them to molten fragments. On the command deck, Alex watched the cannon's readings. It's working, he said, grinning. But the core's unstable. We only get a few more shots before it overloads. Zora nodded, her glowing patterns dimming as she fed more of her energy into the weapon. Make them count. The Kravix mothership responded, firing a massive energy beam that tore through the fleet's shields. Ships exploded, debris scattering into the void. The humans were outmatched, but Alex wasn't giving up. Target the mothership, he ordered, adjusting the cannon's aim. If we take that out, the rest will fall. The cannon fired again, the beam cutting through the mothership's adaptive armor. The ship shuddered, its structure collapsing inward. But before the final blow could land, the cannon overloaded, its energy spiraling out of control. We have to eject the core. Alex shouted, racing to the console. Zora stopped him, her hand glowing brightly. I can contain it, she said, her voice steady. But I'll need to channel everything I have. You'll burn yourself out, Alex said, his voice breaking. Zora smiled faintly. Then I burn bright. The sacrifice. Zora stepped into the cannon's core chamber, her body glowing brighter than ever. She closed her eyes, her energy surging as she stabilized the weapon. With one final push, she fired the beam, obliterating the Kravix mothership in a blinding explosion. The remaining Kravix ships faltered, their adaptive systems failing without the mothership's guidance. The fleet pressed the advantage, destroying the remaining threats. When the battle was over, Alex rushed to the core chamber. The light had faded, and Zora was gone. Only faint traces of her glowing patterns remained, etched into the walls like a final goodbye. A new beginning. Days later, Alex stood on the command deck, staring out at the stars. The fleet was regrouping, preparing for the next threat. The Kravix might be defeated for now, but Alex knew there were more dangers out there. One of the officers approached him. You fought well, Kane. We couldn't have done this without you, or her. Alex nodded, his voice heavy. She gave us a chance. Now it's up to us to make sure we use it. As the stars stretched before him, Alex clenched his fists. Zora's sacrifice wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something greater. Humanity wasn't just surviving anymore. It was fighting back. The end.